Hi, it's Angela, and you are listening to Divinely Connected. We have our technical difficulties sorted this week, so thank goodness for that. Our mic is back working. I really did not want to have to redo last week's content because it is so authentic and it is so organic how I work. I would hate to have wasted the content and then had to go back and redo it. For those who are new, I'm so happy that you're here. If you're kind of just poking around on my podcast, I love that. Just a little bit about how I do this. It's all divinely guided. So the daily cards or the daily messages are just that. There is no prep work connected to that. It is just letting spirit come through and bring through what it is that they want you to know, as well as doing, these type of episodes as well, allowing them to bring to us the information that they want us to talk about. So we have did a little bit on archangels recently. We did a little talk on soul contracts last week, and I had so much beautiful response connected to the soul contract and how it just allowed them to look at things differently and the peace that comes in with that, which is really beautiful. And that's what this is all about. Now, today, it's a little bit of a mashup talk because it is just, again, not that I want to say I'm winging it, but I'm letting the divine use me to bring through what they want you to know. And really, what has been on my mind since my little eyes opened today is I need to talk to you about Wayne Dyer. I love him. I love him so much. I love his content. He has now since departed, but his work is timeless. So if you're looking for a good audible book or you're looking for some new books to pick up or someone new to read up on, I highly recommend, because he is the one that I constantly go back to. The lessons every time that I listen to an audiobook, pick up one of my books that I have, it's always what I need to know in that exact moment, right? So I love him. And what I wanted to talk today about, because a lot of the conversations that we've had about soul contracts and just how everything is happening on purpose, we need to also understand that that's not only the past, that's not only things that we would deem as complicated or difficult. This is how we are supported in this life. And Wayne Dyer has this quote that I love. I use a lot. If you have been following me for a while, or if you've been following my daily cards over on my Facebook, Psychic Medium Angela McClellan, then this is going to sound familiar. But he quotes, or I quote of Wayne Dyer, it says, "If you knew who walked beside you at all times on a path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear or doubt again." Right? And so after learning about the soul contracts, and again, hindsight's 2020, we're able to look back in our lives and go, oh, okay, I see how that has now worked out. We feel more comfortable because that is more of a set in stone type of experience, where a lot of the insecurity or the anxiety or the fear comes in the present moment, when we don't know what is coming or we don't know how this is going to work out. Right. So, this is why I love this quote so much, because it reminds us, one, this is the path that you chosen. This is the path that you chosen for yourself to come into this life to learn and experience what it is that you wanted to learn and experience. Remembering that we are unconditional, loving energy. We are one with God. We are one with source energy. So we need to come into this human form to have a contrasting experience, right? So again, what this understanding allows us to be in a moment of acceptance, or into this feeling of like, okay, we can at least take off the worry list of, I shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Oh my gosh. And all that back and forth energy. We can then go remind ourselves as well that we do not walk this path alone. We do not walk this path alone. And this was something that was so jarring to my being when I started my path, when I started embracing my gifts and you opening myself up to my spiritual self. And what it did for me was bring in the love and support that was lacking in my life. That was lacking in my life because humans are flawed, right? Humans, we're flawed. The people, our inner circles, our family, the ones who should love us the most, often do not. They often cannot. They can love you to the most of their capability, but that may not be enough. Okay. And so by allowing and right realizing and recognizing that, oh my gosh, we have infinite amount of divine beings on the other side who only want what is best for ourselves, who do not have an ego. So there's no jealousy, there's no comparison, there's no what about me, right? It is just their whole purpose and their being is to love you and support you here on this path, right? Which is wild. And like I said, just because humans are flawed, and they can only love us out of what they're capable of. And that capacity is a reflection of their own life experiences, the generation that they were brought up in, their own trauma, their limiting beliefs, right? And so there is so many limitations in that. And to be able to be a sensitive person as you are, and to need that depth, right? Oftentimes we do not receive it here in the physical form. So for many, this is their first experience with this foreign feeling of unconditional love, unconditional support. And it is life changing. Not only that, I also find it gives us the ability to kind of cut our humans some slack as well. Because if you are, and now I remember this quote is coming from an Oprah clip, I think. But it makes so much sense because when you hear truth, it just hits you in the soul, right? It hits you to the core. And I remember she had someone in, and they were talking about how if you are a deep person, right? If you are a 10-gallon person, right? You have a deep soul, you're an old soul, you're a deep feeler. Um your parents, your lovers, your children or whomever may be a 2-gallon person, right? And even if they give you 100% of their capacity to love and to support, it is still 8 gallons short. And it doesn't mean that they don't want to love you. It doesn't mean that they're trying to withhold it. They're just not capable of loving you and supporting you in the ways that you need because you are a deeper soul. You're a deeper person, right? And what that does is bring in so much understanding of how people who love us, right? Who mean well, who are doing their best, it's not enough. So what we have to understand for us is that we are responsible for filling up our gallons, right? In that whether it's coming in with, reaching out to a therapist, looking for other ways to fulfill ourselves, hobbies, passion projects, etc., and connecting with your divine beings. So again, when we're looking for that unconditional, wise support, love, guidance, we would be constantly disappointed by our humans, even though they're giving us everything. It's never going to be enough. So we need to figure out, where do we get this for ourselves, right? And when you realize that you have literally an infinite army of amazing beings on the other side, where their whole purpose is to love you and support you, guide you, protect you, your whole life changes. Your whole life changes. So as you go through these experiences and as you are then presented with decisions that need to be made, choices, changes that need to come in, you turn to yourself, you turn to your soul, because that's where you connect with the other soul beings, right? So there are these feelings of, because we are all connected, we are all one. right? We're all one on this spiritual sense of ourselves. And so, what us connecting within ourselves, connecting with our true soul self, we are then connecting with the infinite wisdom. And I get it. You know what? I might be losing you a little bit, but I'm going to break it down in a very easy way to understand. Because I remember it wasn't that long ago. Like I said, I've been into this journey for 10 years now, and it has completely transformed my life. I cannot even believe how amazing my life is. And how I feel. Does that mean that it's easy? No, it just means that I feel safe and secure as I'm moving through it. And that's what I want for you so much. And I remember reading this and I remember being like, well, we're all one. What the does that mean? Right. And then I came across this analogy of we are one with God, we are one with source. And think of source energy as the sun. And think of every single one of us as the rays of the sun. We're all individual. We all look different, right? We all are different sizes, different shapes, different colors, but we are part of the sun, right? So source energy, God, creator, the all-knowing is the sun. We, our own individual selves, are the sun rays, right? We're still connected to the source energy, but we are individual, right? So we are still connected to each other. We're walking around in this world all feeling a lot of the same feelings, right? And yet feeling so separate, but yet we are all connected. We are one. And what I loved so much through the platform that I have and being able to connect with my clients when I read for them, I always say it's such a privilege because I get to have these type of vulnerable conversations with them. I love that I see how connected we truly are. Coming from a space where me personally feeling as though I was so misunderstood. I was always, obviously a lot more sensitive than other people. Didn't really feel like I quite fit in. Definitely felt overlooked a lot of the times. And then coming into a space where I'm like, oh my God, everyone feels like that to some degree. We're all like that connects us where before it made me feel so separate from. It also would really kind of put my ego in place because as I'm sitting down with these, beautiful people to read for them, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like, you would think, oh, they're so put together. Like they're so, unfazed by this life. Nobody is unfazed. Everybody is having a hard time. Right? Everybody has family crap. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has doubts. Everybody struggles with making big life changes. And these people that we think that we look up to, or we think, oh, they got it all together, they are the ones who have the most going on, is what I've realized. I've walked away from private sessions so many times going, oh my God, I would never have guessed the amount of loss, the amount of struggle, the amount of hurt that they would be feeling because that's not who, I first glance idea of who they were, right? So we are so deeply connected in this life experience by having this life experience. And we are all sun rays to the same energy source, right? We are all extensions of energy from the same energy source. So when we're in moments of feeling like I'm completely alone, nobody loves me and supports me, nobody understands what I'm going through, I can promise you, you are not alone. I can promise you that people are going through a lot more similar experiences that you are than you would think. And I always say it's the feeling of the experiences, the detail changes, right? So there's a lot of the feeling of these experiences, these emotional experiences are coming in. And we often think, oh my God, I'm so alone. But if we can just start talking, if we can just start talking and we can just start being truthful with what's going on and how we're feeling about it, the more connected we will feel and the less lonely we will feel. Okay? But I understand that that takes some time. So, leaning on your divine team, leaning on asking your divine team for help with whatever. It doesn't even you listen, you don't need to be knowledgeable in your spiritual practice. You don't even need to like really believe, right? You just need to open even just a little crack. And what will happen is the more that you ask for their help, the more that they show up for you, and the stronger your connection, your belief becomes. Because I said it before and I'll say it again. I do not want to persuade you to believe in something that I tell you to believe in. I want you to open yourself up and have the experiences for yourself and figure out what all this means for you, right? And I think that that is so important. And I say this in my readings, and I say it in my large events. You don't need to believe in me, but all of this is for you to believe that you're not alone, that your loved ones are still with you. Your divine team is there guiding you and loving you. So it's not so much becoming loyal to another human. My goal is to allow you to open up to the possibility that you are unconditionally loved and supported, and that you too have amazing divine team on the other side, these invisible little troops helping us through this life day in and day out. And so, going back to Wayne's quote, where he states, if you knew who walked beside you at all times on the path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear and doubt again. Because as we're walking to do the hard thing or to say the hard thing or to change the hard thing, we feel as though we are alone. We feel like we are, thrown in with the sharks. But the truth is that we have amazing, energetic beings that are walking beside you, clearing the path in front of you, and supporting you from behind. That you are completely loved and guided in this life. And so that makes it a little less intimidating, and it makes it a little bit easier to make these changes. And there is no wrong way of starting this. There is no wrong way of talking to your divine team. You don't need to be super structured with it if that's not your vibe. Me personally, I always say, talk to them like you would talk to your best friends, because one, that's who you are, that's your organic self, right? And two, they are literally the epiphany of best friends. Unconditional love and support, cheering you on, holding you accountable when you need to be, right? And I think that that's just so important. So, the soul contracts have really allowed us to think about and look at our life experiences differently, taking that understanding forward with us when we are met with challenges, or when we are met with experiences that we're, unsure about. Then also reminding yourself that you're never alone. And, everybody's just trying to do the best that they can. And if they do not have the capacity to love you and support you in the ways that you need, you go get that for yourself. You do that for yourself. Get your divine team to help. I just say, hey, I need help with this. Can you bring me the best suited person, place, thing, opportunity, whatever it is that I need to me, please? Like, it is literally nothing fancy. Because I'm not a fancy person. I like just to keep it easy peasy, keep it, down to earth. So that's how I communicate, and it's been working well for me. So I promise you it's going to work. If I can give you any tips, if you're kind of like, okay, Ange, I'm going to give this a go, but like, I don't know what to do, or is just leave room for them to do their thing, right? Oftentimes, especially if we're anxious or we are kind of like fearful, controlling, we will try to like box it in too much and being like, okay, I need answer prayers and this is how I would like it answered. And this is the timeline I would like it answered in. right? And it doesn't work like that. I always say it's better just to be general in the sense of like, okay, listen, this is what I'm struggling with, and I really need help with this, right? Or, please give me a sign or an idea over the next 3 days of how I should proceed or how I should decide this decision that is in front of me, and just allow them to do their thing. And why I say that is I know myself. And even though I'm, a work in progress with my limiting beliefs, I oftentimes will limit my blessings in. And the times where I was kind of open ended with it and left it in a general sense, the blessings that came in were way better than what I would have asked for myself. Right. So we do have this default dimming down or filtering ourselves for whatever reason. And so when we're manifesting, it's always best to not worry about the details and just, again, focus on the experience or the feeling of that experience. So when you're asking for your divine team for help, let them help, because I'll tell you why. They know where you've been. They also know where you're going. They know your whole life path. We don't. We may think that we know what we want. We may think that we know what is for our highest good, but that's not always the case. So the more that we try to control everything, the more that we either make it harder on ourselves or we jip ourselves from having amazing experiences or keeping our life smaller than it needs to be, right? So by being a little bit open, then all of a sudden we have this abundance of love, abundance of opportunity, abundance of health, wealth, etc., where we're just like, oh my gosh, because I wouldn't have asked that for myself, right? But I'm so happy it's here. And so, start every day with calling your divine team in. When you're feeling overwhelmed, remind yourself of those sun rays. Remind yourself that you are one with source. You are one with source energy. So by you connecting with yourself, connecting with your soul, you are connecting with the infinite wisdom that comes from source energy, right? Call upon your divine team for help with whatever. Remember, their omnipresence, by them helping you doesn't take them from someone else. They can be with you and with them all at the same time. They are more than eager to help. We do need to ask because of the power of free will. So even if you want to start every morning by inviting them in, saying, "Hey, divine team, thanks for being with me today." Or, I say, my highest, most expert guides, for me, guides me and everyone. Please move me where I need to be moved. Have me say what I need to say, do what I need to do, and be who I need to be to move forward in this physical form. And so this is something, again, whatever floats your boat with this, whatever feels right for you. Okay. But remember, when we're feeling that overwhelmed, you are not alone. You are not walking this life alone. Everything is coming in as it should. Everything is going out as it should. By bringing through that belief, it creates the security within yourself so that you feel more centered and more firm in your foundation as you go through these life experiences. I'm going to leave that with you. I hope that this helps, and come back for more spiritual content.